Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we are going to be taking a look at a report from a supposed insider or leaker as to what the plot could be for Billie Piper's return to Doctor Who. I saw a few people talking about this online, so I thought it'd be fun to actually take a look at this. Obviously, with any piece of speculation or rumour or leak or anything like that, take it with a massive grain of salt, but this is what is being said by an insider. So we're going to get right into it. Subscribe if you're new, that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers and we're less than 800 subscribers away, so any support would be greatly appreciated. But let's dive right in. So this is actually from Daniel Richmond, or Daniel RPK. Now I've spoken about Daniel Richmond a few times before on this channel, and they're mainly known for doing like comic book movie scoops and leaks and that kind of thing. As far as I understand it, their Doctor Who track record is a bit more spotty. I remember him claiming that there would be an 8th Doctor spin-off series just for like employees of Bad Wolf to kind of, shut down that idea almost immediately when it happened. But however, I do also remember him saying that the ending of Season 2 would be changed from the original party scene that was leaked in Germany prior to the broadcast of The Reality War. So maybe he has something, maybe he doesn't. Again, take it with a grain of salt. But what he said is that, quote, "My understanding is that she'll be the Doctor, but more in the way Tennant was the 14th Doctor, just for a short time." And this is in response to, obviously, Billie Piper returning at the end of Reality War and what the plans for her are going to be or will be, when the show comes back. Obviously, this is responding to a Billie Piper quote where she says about how last minute it was, saying it's a minefield with how to answer it, because obviously she'll have been told things that we're not privy to, plans, ideas, stuff like that we are not privy to. Now, it's interesting because someone in the replies does say, "I thought they were cancelling it," and Daniel Richmond just responds with, "I'm just saying what the plan is in case they get renewed somewhere." So this is supposedly the plan if the show gets renewed and continues. Effectively, she'll be the Doctor, but like a David Tennant kind of in-between Doctor with a returning face for some supposed reason for a short limited time, likely a special or a couple of specials, which is interesting. I mean, on one level, I think her only being around for a couple of specials is probably true, because I do remember her saying that she didn't want to come back full time because she didn't want to stay in Cardiff too long. I seem to remember that being a quote she said, which, fair enough. So I think it would only make sense that Billie Piper would be a temporary thing anyway. I don't think anyone was realistically expecting her to be the main vanguard of the show moving forward. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want that. I've made my stance on the decision to have Billie Piper show up at the end very clear. I'm not a fan, not because of Billie Piper, but because of the precedent it sets and, just how it looks and the optics of it and all that stuff. I've been over it before now. But the idea of her being an actual Doctor is interesting because obviously up to now, we've all kind of been wondering, is she actually the Doctor? Because she isn't credited as the Doctor at the end of Reality War. And obviously Russell said in one of the Doctor Who magazines that there isn't currently a confirmed plan in place. Obviously, I'm assuming that by now, if the show comes back, they at least have some sort of suggestion of okay, if the show does come back, this is kind of the basic outline of what we're looking to do. I don't think anything will be nailed on yet because they don't know, what budgets they'll be working with or anything like that, because obviously we don't know about Disney or not yet, and obviously that's going to change the nature of the production quite substantially. But it seems like if Billie Piper is, going to be the future and is going to be followed up on, this is what they want to do with it. Basically have her be a short-term, kind of nostalgia-y Doctor in the same way that David Tennant was, which is interesting. I mean, I know that some people are very passionate about letting her actually play the character rather than being, some sort of kind of Bad Wolf kind of version, or the TARDIS taking over the Doctor's body, or something like that, or a transported Rose from, the parallel universe, and all those other theories. A lot of people just want her to actually play the Doctor, because they think she'd be good in the role, and I mean, I get that. I think for me, though, I struggle to be too excited at the prospect of this, because we just had it, we just had a old face comeback for a couple of specials. That was 2 years ago, that wasn't that long ago. And it's basically the exact same concept from what we're seeing in this, report here from Daniel RPK. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but I just can't bring myself to really get excited at the prospect of this. Maybe they do something really different with it and really surprise me. It's possible, but I don't know. I also just think it would be kind of weird if the 14th Doctor was David Tennant, the 15th Doctor was Ncuti Gatwa, and then the 16th Doctor's Billie Piper. It's just weird. It's just weird, It's just strange. I think this is different from, Peter Capaldi as Caecilius or Colin Baker as Commander Maxwell. It's a very important key character to Doctor Who becoming the face of Doctor Who. And I think that's just something that's going to be difficult for not only fans, but also I think maybe general audiences to grasp. It's easy for general audiences to grasp the idea of old Doctor comes back. That's fine, that's easy for them to get, Other Hollywood franchises do that all the time. It's not that hard to, sort of imagine. We have multiple Spider-Men, we have multiple Batmen, we have multiple Doctors, that makes sense. With something like this, though, I can imagine a lot of people being like, but why is Rose Tyler the Doctor? What's going on there? Is it the moment? And I guess you could say that that's a conversational point, but I don't know at what point it stops becoming a conversational point and starts just becoming, really confusing and like an Ouroboros just kind of slowly eating itself. I don't know. Like I said, I suppose on one level, it's nice to see, that she would actually be the Doctor, because I suppose if you're going to do this, you might as well go all out and actually just have her play the actual character, as opposed to, some sort of weird, memory or bad wolf or something like that. Equally, though, I just think it's too similar to what we already did with Tennant. And I mean, are they going to acknowledge the fact that this has happened, 2 incarnations fairly, recently? Obviously we've had 14 and 16. Are they going to acknowledge 14 in these specials? I feel like if you're going to do this, if you're going to have a big nostalgia thing with Billie Piper coming back, and you've got a version of David Tennant on Earth, you might as well have them cross over. I don't see why you wouldn't at this point. Just, do it. I think for me, I just can't get hyped over, this conceptually, unless they do something really, wacky and different with it. But, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they will. This is just the plan, it seems to be, for whenever things get picked up. This is, their kind of apparent holding plan, according to Daniel Richmond. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you later.